costs. Now we have this development.
I thought it was a hoax when it happened, the Duke situation. I didn't believe the woman, as you know, and they destroyed the lives of these kids. They destroyed, and I don't care what they got. Their lives have been destroyed. Their lives have been shortened by what took place. And now the woman admitted that it never happened. That is a horrible. And as you know, I took a lot of heat when I said that this did not happen. And those kids were beautiful kids with beautiful families, and they were, in some cases, will never be the same. They will never be the same.
Have you talked to them by chance?
What are your thoughts on the Postal Service? You mentioned Bezos a second ago, and I've always thought Bezos would be a key person to go in there and really streamline the logistics of the post office, but they lose billions.
Well, there is talk about the Postal Service being taken private. You do know that. Not the worst idea I've ever heard. It really isn't. You know, it's a lot different today with between Amazon and UPS and FedEx and all the things that you didn't have. But there is talk about that. It's an idea that a lot of people have liked for a long time. We're looking at it. I think we're looking at that along with a lot of us. Any questions for Howard, by the way? Commerce.
Sure, I'll ask one. Mr. Incoming Secretary, do you see another trade deal with China coming?
I think the president...
That's a tough one, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's easy for me. You're sitting next to me, so it's okay. No, the president has very clear agenda for tariffs. And I think reciprocity is something that is going to be a key topic for us. How you treat us is how you should expect to be treated.
Would you like to weigh in, sir, on that?
You said it so well, reciprocal. If they tax us, we tax them the same amount. They tax us, forgetting just for a second about the word tax, they tax us, we tax them. And they tax us, almost in all cases, they're taxing us, and we haven't been taxing them.
Is that deal already underway? Is there a deal already underway with respect to that?
Let's just say this, we're going to make great deals, and we have all the cards. And until I came along, don't forget, and Howard was going over the numbers with me last night, we took in $600 billion and more in taxes and tariffs from China. No other president took in 10 cents, not 10 cents, not 10 cents. And no, well, we're going to be doing things. We're going to be treating people very fairly. But the word reciprocal is important because if somebody charges us, India, we don't have to talk about own. If India charges us 100%, do we charge them nothing for the same? You know, they send in a bicycle and we send them a bicycle. They charge us 100 and 200. India charges a lot. Brazil charges a lot. If they want to charge us, that's fine, but we're going to charge them the same thing.
Okay? That's a big worried thing. About
and you know what? The senators, some of them aren't necessarily business people. When I give that to them, they say, that sounds fair to me.
Are you concerned that tariffs might hurt the stock market rise that you have seen and the economy more broadly?
Make our country rich. Tariffs will make our country rich.
But won't they raise prices?
Properly used. No, well, I didn't have any inflation, and I had massive tariffs on a lot of things. We put tariffs on steel. If I didn't put tariffs on steel, 50% and more, they were dumping steel in, China and others. I put tariffs on, and it stopped, and we took a fortune. We made a fortune on it. Tariffs, properly used, which we will do, and being reciprocal with other nations, but it'll make our country rich. Our country right now loses to everybody. Almost nobody do we have a surplus with. There are a couple of countries, and they're embarrassed by it, but almost nobody. And tariffs will make, I always said, to me, tariffs, the most beautiful word in the dictionary. It'll make our country rich. You go back and look at the 1890s, 1880s, McKinley, and you take a look at tariffs. That was when we were at our proportionately the richest.
Agree with the view from...
Did you get to a good spot?
Back on Ukraine, Mr. President. What should Zelensky, if anything, be prepared to give up to end this war?
He should be prepared to make a deal. That's all. Got to be a deal. No, got to be a deal. Too many people being killed. That is a war that's hard. Too many people. Got to make a deal. And Putin has to make a deal too.
What deal would
you think?
Putin has to make a deal, and Putin would have never gone in if I was president. If I was president, we wouldn't have had inflation. Our oil prices would have been lower, had a good relationship with Putin, he would, despite the Russia hoax, which made it more difficult. If we had that election, if it were an honorable election, we wouldn't have had any of the problems that we're talking about right now. Putin would have never got in.
Will you give up his office? You said that you could make that deal before you take office. Do you still think you could make that deal?
I'm going to try.
Will you ask Putin to give up Assad?
Well, I hadn't thought of it. I think we have to get on with our lives. We'll have to see what happens. But right now, Syria has a lot of, there's a lot of indefinites. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Syria. But I think Turkey is going to hold the key to Syria, actually. I don't think you've heard that from anybody else, but I've been pretty good at predicting. I want to thank you all, and we're going to make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.